Hi, welcome to a step-in-time training video on scheduling clients with maps.
You will find that in the many years we have been in business, we have struggled to properly schedule our technicians in close proximities. Even the seasoned veteran customer service reps have issue trying to find the best routing. We may have finally found a solution to our problem. The first step is to open your jobber screen and place it on day calendar with all the technicians. Then you click the Google Maps link that is on team@chimneysweep.com. When you open the map, it may appear confusing because the map includes all the jobs that we have for the next month.
This includes Hampton Roads, Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Northern Virginia.
We have segmented these maps into zones that we are going to service. Sometimes we will try to schedule all technicians in the same zone to keep efficiency and the jobs clustered to each other.
You will find that we have 6 zones in Southampton Roads. The 3 main zones are in Virginia Beach.
We also have 2 zones on the peninsula, 3 zones in Richmond, 1 zone near Fredericksburg, and 3 zones in Northern Virginia. Right now, our mapping and scheduling is a little messed up, but over time and with proper scheduling, these problems will correct themselves. You may notice that the zones that are highlighted in a gray is our zones, and the zones that are not highlighted in gray look like they are out of our zones.
These are areas where we are not going to service.
If the address is close to our service location, feel free to schedule them, but use your best judgment. You will notice that if you click any gray zone, the title of the zone will appear and there will be smaller information below this block. The bold titles are the days and technicians who work that zone. Under the main title are actual dates and number of jobs that are available for that date. So, if we service the job a certain day of the week, we will list the day and which technicians are working that location in the upper bold block. Below that bold block will be the actual available dates and jobs, where the jobs available have parentheses after the date. After you have familiarized yourself with the zones and technicians servicing the zones, you will need to go back to the Jobber Day scheduling page.
You can find which technicians are booked for certain days, so you do not overbook.
The map tool is simply to help you properly schedule dates and times for jobber. So, let's take an example of a client who calls our office.
The first thing you should do after making contact is get an address. Let's say the address is 4120 Benjamin Harrison Drive.
The map feature will likely populate itself and you can confirm the city and zip code with the client.
This part of the map section should be most popular to you.
After the address pin populates, you can click the gray highlight outside the pin to reveal your zone. This will show you days and technicians you should schedule.
It also shows you the dates and number of upcoming appointments available. The best part of this map program is that it allows you to zoom out and you can see other pins of other upcoming appointments. We have actually color-coded pins for different days of the week.
If the pin is gray, then that is a job that is typically over 10 days from today. This is great if you want to schedule jobs near each other and if you want to give add-ons to technicians who have finished their day early.
We may also even consider applying a special color to clients who are on a wait list and would like an earlier appointment. When a client calls and you have their information, you need to think of 2 things. You want to schedule on the date that is in the main zone block. But what you should really try to perform is schedule near the closest pin.
This can be very difficult to perform because you almost need to switch between jobber and the map very quickly. What we have found is that if you click different pins, you will find info when the job starts and stops. Most of the time, if you schedule a job 1 hour earlier or 1 hour after, it usually is a good fit.
Do not schedule at the same time as the pin you open.
You will likely need to open multiple pins to see what the best match is.
So, let's try scheduling another client. This would be the screen you should be on. After speaking with the customer and having friendly conversation, ask them their address.
Let's assume at 903 North Quaker Avenue, which I know is in Northern Virginia.
It will automatically populate, and you click the address and confirm with the customer.
You will then leave the new pin and click the gray area to determine the zone, which basically tells you which days to schedule, which technicians to schedule, and which days are available. Now that you gain information regarding which zone you are in, you lightly mention that you may have the following dates available.
You get those dates from the section under the bold block.
You may want to especially mention the days that have the most available appointments. If you mention the first available day that you think is available, it may disappoint the client if there is a conflict or is unavailable. After prepping the client for available days, you should zoom out and find the closest pins available which represent upcoming nearby jobs. If you schedule a job very close to another job, then you are awesome and Ray loves you. You need to be careful to check the time of the job.
Make the appointment either 1 or 2 hours before the closest pin or 1 or 2 hours after the closest pin.
You schedule 2 hours apart if the slot is available or 1 hour between two jobs if you want to squeeze in a nearby job. The closer the jobs are together, the smaller booking spacing is required because it has less drive time. When you are clicking through the pins, you should pay special attention to when a job starts and when a job stops. If a job starts at 10 a.m. and is a 5-hour repair that ends at 3 p.m., then you should know that if you want to schedule 1 hour before, then it would be 9 a.m., and if you want to schedule 1 hour after, then it should be at 4 p.m.
Never schedule any jobs after 4 p.m.
When you have spoken to the client and have a good date and time to schedule a client, you will need to go back to Jobber. When you go back to Jobber, you should filter only the technicians working that zone.
For the Northern Virginia zone, we would filter Andrew, Frank, and Harry. This allows you to find the jobs and placement of where you want to schedule, and the other technicians do not confuse you. This is also helpful if you use the map feature on Jobber. When you have Jobber up and have all the technicians in that zone filtered, then you should already know which days of the week that we service them. You can look for days that have openings by the technicians. If you schedule the technician in the proper zone, then you are doing your job. If you schedule a technician and then schedule him again with very little drive time, then you are doing a great job. We understand this is a very difficult task, and so there are ways to solve this issue. You could get a client's cell phone number and ask if you can schedule a tentative appointment, but if we can find better appointments that is earlier, then we can text them change possibilities. You don't want to frustrate customers, but you also want to offer good drive times. Thank you for tuning into our map feature scheduling program.
You should watch this video a minimum of 10 times. It may seem silly, but it can be a very complicated situation and you need to become a master at using it. Remember, if the client is outside of our zone, we can offer a manager to call them with a referral number, or we can possibly schedule them in January. Many of these clients have used our services before, and so the best way to solve this is to have a manager like Nicole call them and explain their options. Again, thanks for watching, and look for more upcoming training videos from A Step in Time Chimney Sweeps.